Welcome to Dr. DC Podcast. My name is Colin. Next to me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
And as always, we are joined by our producer, Richard.
Ahoy, hoy.
Each week, we talk about the world of DC Comics and field questions from listeners like you, while I look upon our awesome audience at our first live recording.
Yeah.
We
Thank you guys.
Look at you guys.
Woo, thank you.
How neat is this?
We've never done this for more than just us in a room before, so that it
Smells way better.
it does smell a lot better.
It's nice to see every single one of our listeners here.
That's
I don't know how you guys listen or download it 200 times. But
that was amazing. Just
You're our
keep
favorite.
auto downloading those things.
We have a guest today. Obviously, to my far, far left is PJ Fresh Phil Guerrero.
This is awesome.
The crowd goes. That was like
Fresh Phil.
That was like baseball field levels of.
You know what? I'm just excited because we actually somehow convinced them that we had a podcast just so we could get PJ Phil on the table with us. So
Yeah,
That's right. This is episode number 1.
we're actually not recording this at all either.
Use my name if you want to apply for a bank loan.
Awesome.
We're so excited to have you here. Without fanboying out too much, I think we kind of we grew up with the zone. We
You
do
love me.
we do actually we do love you.
We're not worthy.
That's right.
Yes, you are. I feel the love.
Oh wow.
You're worth
You were honestly though, for many of us, I think you were the gateway into nerddom. I mean, there you were. Not to make you feel too old, but
Phil's the gateway drug.
that's right.
No, I don't feel too old. I'm old. I'm 46. I'm 46 now.
No shit.
I'm a celebrity that'll talk about his age. Actually, am I a celebrity? I don't know.
You are. You know what? In these
absolutely.
circles, you absolutely are.
Yeah.
Certainly in
I
the
hate
context
that.
of this podcast.
Yeah, like, well, I'm 31. No, you're 46. But I raised a lot of people, and unknowingly, though, honestly. I don't know. Yeah, it's so strange. I didn't realize how many people were watching. I realize it now.
When did that hit you that you were sort of as integral to people growing up as actually watching episodes of like Transformers or Reboot or things like that?
God, it wasn't until until after I quit
Really?
on TV. Yeah, because I mean, I was working, I was doing it, and then I don't know. I took off for a little while too. I was in LA for a while, so I was away from all that sort of recognition, which I sort of took advantage of. I reinvented myself several times over and had the opportunity to sort of, I did the same thing for 11 years. I didn't want to do it anymore, but I still wanted to be kind of creative or something,
Yeah.
And that was great.
You helped birth.
I'll tell you all about
yeah.
it if you ask. But.
Yeah, but honestly, you helped birth the sort of like what kids television is like. You were at the very beginning of YTV, right? Like,
Yes, I am responsible. You know what? I was talking to someone else about this. I kind of feel bad. Like I sort of ushered in this internet thing that I kind of think is destroying the world slightly. But I was the beginning of the sort of the latchkey kid, but
Fucking loud and
people
proud.
dumping their kids in front of the TV and like, this guy will watch you from 3:30 to 6, and I did.
Yeah.
And then your folks were able to just go cook dinner or
You
do
were the
what parents do.
You were the friendly good cop though, and then Snit was the terrifying.
that's right.
I had a
bad
bunch
cop
of those.
watching us. So.
Yeah, it actually started with Warren. Do you remember Warren the Grogs?
yeah, that's right.
That was my counterpart. And that was funny because he was sort of like an Oscar the Grouch type puppet character that I was speaking to in my 20s. And that's another thing. I was always embarrassed of like being on TV.
How old were you when you started?
20 years old.
Really? Wow.
I was 20. I was just a kid. I was lucky, though. I mean, gosh, who gets to... Yeah, I look back on it. Why would they put me on TV? Do you remember how I looked? I had like a ponytail. I was weird. Like,
It was
I was a strange
90s,
color.
It was early 90s.
Early 90s?
He started 91, right?
1990, 91.
See, because we didn't really I don't know. I grew up in Whitehorse here, and the crowd goes wild. And all I really had was CBC, and so whenever I'd go over to like a friend's place or whatever, they'd have like YTV or these other like cable channels. And I remember the only
These exotic channels.
Yeah, well, the only thing that I really remember from like that time, like the Zone, that kind of thing, was like that weird TV. So when the guys we had the opportunity to book you to do the show, they had to explain to me like what YTV really was.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He didn't know.
He
That's
didn't
okay.
know.
That's
I was a latchkey kid, but my parents forgot to leave the key.
No, but you're young. That's good.
So it's funny that you mentioned that you were a little bit embarrassed, you know, to be on TV with this Oscar the Grouch type puppet, because we are 3 grown men who weekly talk about comic books. And specifically, I talk about comic books as if they were like real people who raised me or interact with me in real life. So,
Yeah,
should I feel embarrassed?
No.
Yes,
But you imagine,
Because I
like,
haven't yet.
I was a guy in my 20s, you know, and talking to puppets, meeting other people in my 20s. I was like, what do you do? I talk to puppets.
Right.
You know, so there was a bit of that. But it was also a different time. You know, I'm older than you. I sort of put away comics and toys and, you know, I only had cartoons on Saturday mornings.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once I discovered girls and had a skateboard, like, you know, there wasn't anything keeping me at home.
You,
Like the
you lost
internet,
me
I
when
was
you said
off.
whatever that G word was.
Yeah.
So if we like rewind back, then before you put those things aside, what were some of the things that you were into? Did you read comics? Were you into superheroes?
Like, it's so funny. Like, I was when I was a kid. Like, I had all those Mego dolls, and I watched Spider-Man. But the Spider-Man with the crazy acid jazz music.
Right, yeah.
You know, with then he keeps swinging, and you don't know what he's just swinging and swinging. And
Animation,
The same frame
animation was so good.
I was raised on that. I was raised on the Batman that I showed you guys, like that, you know, Adam West, which is like super nostalgic now, but that's actually what we had, you know. But like I said, you know, once you sort of grew up earlier when there wasn't all this stuff. Like, you guys can still enjoy comics, which is great. Like, look at these conventions.
Yeah.
You didn't have that when I was, you know, if you were 30 and you were like still into this stuff.
Right.
They'd call the cops and say, watch this guy, he's a weirdo.
No, it's true. I mean,
But now it's like you can enjoy it.
Reed is a total weirdo.
Yeah, no, he still gets that.
And it's almost
I
and
always
it's hip
use
being
my
a
real
nerd.
name.
It's cool being a nerd these
No,
days.
it totally
And by
is.
nerd, I think I mean you can nerd out on anything. Like I took up tennis and I bought a racket stringer and learned how to I nerded out on that. You can nerd out on anything, you know. But yeah, it's great that you get to, you know, the internet and all that helped you kind of hold on to this stuff at a later age, because you had cartoons all the time whenever you wanted.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have that.
Well, yeah, fair enough. And
That's why I was embarrassed. That's why it's cool now.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
We've been, you know, and you have too. We've all been walking around YukomiCon so far this weekend, and it's been an amazing time to see people like dressed up, and people are selling their artwork, and everyone has has a different way of sort of getting into or expressing themselves through this.
Captain America's here.
Yeah.
Captain America is here. Yeah.
But I love the culture too, because it's like everybody is like really nice to each other and very supportive of
Yeah.
each other. There's no like real fights.
Yeah.
Just like guys that
Fake ones outside.
yeah, like lightsaber
I don't know how
fights.
fake those are. Those are terrifying.
Yeah. So I love the people that are involved in it. You know?
Oh, that's awesome.
So
And
was like-
the comics, you know, I really only got it. Yeah, I enjoyed that stuff when I was a kid, and then you get over it, and then now you're in your 20s and you're working.
Right.
And it's like
Now you can finally afford
video
those
games.
comics.
Yeah, like I reviewed video games. I went to comic shows. Like it was kind of like I did it for work, and now I'm an adult going, great. This is my life. I get to kind of be around this stuff, and like how could it not be fun?
Yeah, totally.
Well, you review video games for a living for 2 years, and like I'll tell you, like I don't play anymore. Like I kind of like
It actually like soured it for you.
kind of in comics, but everything I get bored of stuff easy. Like I played in a band, and I haven't picked up a guitar in like.
It was a cover band, wasn't it?
No, it was. I went to the States and joined like a Filipino 9 Inch Nails kind
What?
of touring band.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Did you know about this? This was 2002.
I did not
But I
know
didn't
about
like you don't. But where would I announce this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, There was
Here,
nobody
live-
to tell.
That's
live
right.
at UKomiCon. You
Yeah.
heard
Yeah,
it
in
first.
2002, you guys had no idea what I was up to.
Surprise
And
you
there was
guys, coming right from the doors behind me are the rest of the.
Yeah, you'll see it on YouTube. They were called Raised in Black, RAZED in Black. And I'll tell you why this was a significant time in my life, because I did TV for 11 years. I was over it. I didn't even like going into work anymore, just because I wasn't learning anymore. And they were really great because they gave me other things to do. I did the Zone. I did the Anti-Gravity Room. They kept me.
Right.
They were letting me do all kinds of stuff. I was going to do all the basketball stuff too, but then the other hosts were
Because
like,
they're
"How come he gets to do everything?"
trying to keep you around, right?
I don't know. Yeah, well, they keep me interested, and he can do it.
Yeah.
So give it, let him do it. But I got bored. Could you imagine? Like the same thing. It doesn't matter what, even if it's television, like. And I couldn't wait to leave, and I left. But and I did some acting for a little while. I'm not an actor. I'm horrible, honestly. Like
Your IMDb is still pretty full though. Like you've done some stuff for sure.
I've done everything.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with my life. So I did some acting, and then I went to LA, and I became friends with these guys from Stomp because they'd come in for interviews in Toronto, and they'd stay in town for 3 months. I became friends with all these actors and dancers and drummers, and this other guy who was in it, he became my friend, and he was the drummer for this goth band, and they kicked out their guitar player, and he asked me, do you want to come do this? I know you play heavy metal guitar. And I was lucky enough to have that opportunity and the opportunity to say yes, and I did. And I was leaving in a few months, and as it got closer and closer, I was like, oh my god, what am I doing?
Right.
Like, I'm 33 years old, never been in a band. Next thing I know, I'm in a van with 5 strangers leaving Los Angeles, heading for Colorado Springs,
Right.
to play. And I did it for 2.5 months. And, I made money playing guitar, I wanted to be in Guns N' Roses when I was 17. Never happened. But now at 33, I'm this... So I got to live that.
Yeah.
Live that. And then I thought, wow, I could do... That was interesting, to challenge myself. Because I'll tell you, it was a challenge because, I'm going to tour the band, but it was hard work. Yeah. You're always trying to get to the next place. It's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's work. And you're eating terrible food, and you wake up in the van. You're not really staying at a hotel. It was a hardcore kind of thing. And when 2 weeks in, you're like, oh my god, this is not what I thought. But by the end, you do it, and it's playing on stage is amazing.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I'm going to make my life like this. And then when I was in LA, no one knew who I was. So all of a sudden, I was doing fashion. I had a fashion line. I had a fashion show in Hollywood.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I was a stylist for a little while. I was styling this little rapper named Little Mama. She was a judge on America's Best Dance Crew. I'd be on the Warner Brothers lot.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, so I was her
Of
stylist.
course you know who that is.
What? It's cool.
Yeah, she I flip my hair back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was my client.
Yeah, I remember. Begrudgingly, I remember
Yeah,
that
that's
song.
right.
Yeah, so all of a
She
sudden...
was styled right out, though. You gotta give her that.
Oh, she delisted herself. I think. But it's amazing that I had this career, and now I'm selling, I'm hustling and selling myself as this other thing, and I'm doing it. I had a pass to go onto the Warner Brothers lot,
Right.
in Burbank, and I'm ironing
Do you still have
clothes.
that pass? Or...
What's that?
Do you still have that pass?
I do. It's a sticker somewhere. I do have it, with my name on
We'll
it.
talk after.
All this talk about being on stage and performing with the band, it makes me think of where we are right now in front of literally, I'd say,
Thousands.
15,000 people here. Easily.
I'm surprised they're all in this room.
Yeah, I mean,
It's slowly starting to smell like our original podcast room in here.
It's
right?
the biggest
That's right.
convention center I've ever been in.
Yeah.
15,000 people who are being
Minimum.
respectfully quiet.
And they literally doubled in 5 minutes.
That's
I know,
right.
it was crazy.
amazing.
This is your first
I don't know
time.
if I'm answering your questions.
No,
I kinda-
you
I'm gonna
are.
walk
No,
in
no, you absolutely
a
Totally
tangent.
are. A little bit about the show, because this is your first time on. We usually dig into a little bit of DC news, and then I try and answer questions that people have about DC Comics, and then it usually devolves into some kind of
It spirals into chaos.
bizarre thought exercise, bizarre.
I
nerdy
might be able
thought
to
exercise.
contribute just because of all the comic stuff I did.
I think you'll be fine.
But it was different. I didn't get into comics because I was I I had a background, when I was a kid, but now I'm sudden, like I'm interviewing people. So I hung out with all these artists. I can't remember who's in DC, but
Batman.
I'm sure,
really
I'm
hung
sure I'll
out
be
with
quick
this-
to scream if
I hung out with this guy named Bill Tucci who did a comic called She.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, but he was friends with like Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, and I would hang out with these guys in New York. I'd go to New York for like the toy show, and Billy would pick me up in his motorcycle, and then we'd go meet Joe and Jimmy and Amanda and Joe Jusko. He's another
is
artist.
crazy.
And we'd be like hanging out and drinking. Like I got to hang out with these guys and all the Image people. Like, what's his name? Who's the Image guy?
like the Todd McFarlane?
Todd McFarlane, he'd be like, "Hey Phil, how you doing? Yeah, come out in Florida and visit me sometime."
That's a spot on Todd.
That's Todd. I'll tell you a funny thing about Todd, like a great night, was the opening of the Spawn movie in Toronto.
Yeah.
And his dad was there, and Marilyn Manson was there, and we all watched the movie. And at the after party,
That crew?
Todd's father, was like, he was in a
Todd
tux
father?
earlier in the night for the movie.
Right.
By the after party, the tux was like off, the shirt was unbuttoned, like down to his belly button, and he's like, "Hey Phil, have you met Marilyn?" He's all drunk, and it's like, this is amazing.
He's just partying it like it's the late 80s.
Yeah. These aren't DC people, but
Yeah,
no,
typical
no.
Friday night.
Well, should we? Let's
Well,
just.
I have one question though.
sure.
Like, have you been keeping up with any of the DC movies and stuff that have come out? Like, you've seen Batman and Wonder Woman and Justice League.
It's funny, like my opinion on it, I really love, like everybody else, I loved when DC went dark with the
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan stuff.
So good.
While Marvel was all fun and stupid and Tobey Maguire, and it was like, they were just overdoing it. And I was getting,
those guys are the worst.
All the movies were getting really bad,
Yeah.
Then DC put it towards that dark, serious way.
It's
And
okay,
it was
Cap.
fantastic.
It's okay.
Get him.
And then, but I do love Captain America. The Winter Soldier was dark in the theater.
He'll get hits. Don't worry.
It's very dark
Yeah.
in the theater. It's always dark in theaters, Phil.
So what did you guys think? And then this whole thing with Ben Affleck and that kind of killed it for
Have
me.
I been pronouncing his name incorrectly?
In
Is this an LA
Quebec,
thing?
we call it Affleck.
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 Well,
Let's not.
But I
devolve into that.
did enjoy Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was super entertaining. And
You
I
guys
thought-
loved Wonder Woman, right?
I did.
Not many of our 15,000 fans here
No, just
like
a-
that
just
movie.
a
apparently.
What do you guys
Women.
think? What do you guys think happened with the DC thing?
This is a question
Are
that we
you
answer.
liking
We
where it
attempt
is?
to answer this occasionally.
I think I probably have waited on this once or twice.
We're
but
just talking about movies, though. It's funny.
Yeah, no,
It's a
no,
comic
absolutely.
company. Why are we talking about the movies?
Yeah, I think I generally just think they were trying to make themselves different from Marvel. Like you said, Marvel was going like the fun, very.
But it was
light,
beautiful.
like,
Those
silly
three
kind of
Batman movies were gorgeous movies.
They were.
They were fantastic.
And then I think they might have
Christian
just
Bale.
like
yeah, Batman Returns.
they got stuck in the darkness a little bit, though. I think they and I think Wonder Woman's the first one that kind of found some of the fun again.
I guess you gotta have a little bit of it. But I was super entertained by it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited about Justice League?
Oh yes, here I probably haven't shown you this, but I have an Aquaman tattoo.
Whoa.
Because I live and breathe characters that nobody likes.
Barry Allen,
That's right. That's right.
the kid. His name's Barry Allen. He's signing checks all over the country. He's a kid from New York. Barry Allen. That's how I know the Flash.
Exactly.
Are we really going to Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah.
Yeah, Barry Allen.
Amazing.
That's where that went.
So I think we're going to jump right into the way we normally
Let's
do
do
our
it.
podcast. We're going to go into news. Obviously, I'm the really fun news guy because I'm not as cool as these guys over here. I'm pretty boring. So in news, the Joker origin story is on deck. Todd Phillips, Scott Silver, allegedly Martin Scorsese on board for this.
Yeah, so this week's been a little bit crazy for news out of DC, but effectively what was...
A lot of Batman-ish.
What was announced is that they might start doing movies that aren't actually like connected to like their extended universe, so they might not be part of the canon of like Man of Steel and Wonder Woman.
Except for
and Justice
Batman
League.
is part of the DC.
Oh, but only as a character though.
Yes.
Like so this Joker movie would be like an origin story that like took place on the other Earth or something like that. And allegedly, Martin Scorsese is involved in some way. The reason that I say allegedly so much,
He's going to be the Joker.
well, oh my God.
Do you like Jared Leto's thing going on with the Joker? Do you like it?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen enough of it to like make an actual decision, but I think
He looks great.
I like that he's doing something different. I just don't know if I like it in
He
general.
looks like he should be a shift supervisor at Hot Topic.
Yeah, here, like show of hands, like who likes Jared Leto's Joker?
I might without the grill.
Without the grill, maybe. Okay.
I kind of liked his style. I
liked
love
it?
that with all the jewelry and the. I liked that. I kind of liked it. I was actually
a
thinking
different
about,
take for
I was-
sure.
I was thinking about biting that style.
I think he could work it. Yeah.
Like purple alligator skin coat.
just the suit, the jewelry and the
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. But at any rate, if this Joker origin story news is true, then there's possibly a movie coming with a different version of the Joker with a set origin, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm being honest.
How about Ben Affleck?
I love
mean,
it.
Affleck.
I'm still strange about the way that you're pronouncing the name. I don't know if I've been saying it wrong for years.
no,
and years
he's
and years
right.
now.
No, it's Ben Affleck.
It's Ben Affleck. We've been doing it wrong.
Affleck, yeah.
We're done now.
I hear Affleck sometimes.
Yeah.
No. I like your version. It's much better.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's great.
Really?
Yeah. Really? Okay, you don't like him, eh?
He looks a little pudgy in the cowl. It's like
He is the first
it's like a double chin
Yeah.
going on. I don't know.
Isn't this supposed to be like? Again, I'm the guy who doesn't know a whole lot about comic books.
Yeah, please educate us.
So like,
let's go.
What I'm getting from this is that he's kind of like the older Batman. We're getting like
Yes.
closer to that point.
Yeah, he
So
is.
I'm looking forward to like dad bod Batman. am I alone on this one? Like dad bod Batman would be kind of sweet. He's like, oh, the suit. It's such an effort to get on. He just like wears a t-shirt, like walks around like Louis C.K. in the 90s.
I like that.
Oh, God.
Batman was the first superhero I loved, though. I had a record I played as a kid, like that would talk about the origin of Batman.
Really?
It was really great. Yeah.
It said nana 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 over.
It was just like, they do like a dramatic presentation, like, and here are the Mighty Graysons about to perform, and someone fell, like it was like that. Oh, I'm an orphan. I'll take you in, my young ward. Like it was
The way orphans do, you know.
Yeah, I didn't
Batman is full of orphans.
Yeah.
Wow, that's as long
And
as
so I'm a
orphans
kid,
aren't
like-
full of Batman.
So that was like entertaining to me. Like that. Oh.
terrible.
Every
Sorry,
episode
sometimes
has
we have to
one.
put up with
Every
this.
But
episode
I'd lie in my bed listening to a record, like
Yeah.
of Batman, and imagining like.
That's
oh.
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the animated series that you were kind of introducing on the YTV show? Because
Did I?
Batman the animated series, it started
Did I come
in the 90s.
Did I introduce that? Did I say, coming up
Yeah.
next, the Batman?
Phil's kind of like Pete Townsend between 67 and 70.
You know what?
Did you ever see the Batman animated series though?
If I could be totally honest with you,
Please.
when I did sometimes. My job, I'd introduce the shows, and as soon as the cameras cut, I would go up to the parking lot and smoke cigarettes.
Cigarettes, yeah.
But the thing is, like, I don't know why I didn't watch the shows. I was an adult, and it's not cool to be around the office when people are working with your feet up watching TV.
Describe cool.
Is that not okay?
No, that's basically.
Plus, I was shaking. But yeah, I really did not watch Breaker High or Doug or Samurai Pizza Cat.
No, not
Yeah.
hey.
I was an adult. I was a
Phil, you and I have that.
That's
in
why I feel
common.
guilty getting recognized. I'm such a phony. I'm a phony.
Well, but do people think that like you like watch the shows, or do they just?
I think they did, and I think that was really the point of the job, like someone to be there with you,
Yeah.
experiencing the same things with you.
Fair enough.
But I did, like I'd watch, but I wouldn't like. I didn't have your life like
Reboot?
Yeah,
I was working.
Yeah,
You guys
exactly.
were watching. I was working.
that's right. We were young and carefree.
So long ago.
Yeah.
So long ago.
So we're gonna turn it over, I think, to some questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do we want to jump into Twitter or into the audience?
Do you guys have any questions?
So usually on the show, if people have questions about DC Comics,
Any questions?
I do my best to answer them, and they range from things like, how does Batman pee in his suit? to like specifically like how Superman shaves or things like that.
No, but seriously, we get some weird questions.
Yeah. So if anyone's got any questions, I'm
Can I start us off?
Yes.
What movie would you like to see next?
Ooh.
I bet you guys have like ideas, like which, because there's millions of DC characters, a lot of
Yeah.
weird ones. Like,
Gnort.
No, not Gnort. I think I would want to see. Well, I'll answer first, but I think I would want to see Green Arrow and Black Canary in a movie together. So for those who might be unfamiliar, Green Arrow, also known as the Emerald Archer, he's basically like a Batman type. He's a rich guy who uses technology to fight crime, but his technology of choice is bow and arrow. But he does have
Advanced technology.
Yeah,
he
super
does have,
high-tech
like,
stuff.
exploding arrows and like hack into your computer arrows and things like that. So he and then his on again, off again love interest, Black Canary, who has that like supersonic scream, shatter windows and things like that. There's versions of them on TV right now, but I think I'd like to see like a proper movie version of that.
how about you guys?
Yeah.
I want to hear you first.
Okay, so a lot of the time we'll get talking about like weird asinine things that
Oh my
happen
God,
in
I know
comic
what you're
books.
gonna
Oh,
say.
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
So I often kind of pitch to the guys that I would love to see like everyday normal lives of these superheroes. So we had one episode we were talking about how there was like a fax machine or a photocopier that went down, and so was it Superman?
Yeah.
He like flew around the globe to like get a new one or something.
The thing that Colin wanted to see was just Clark Kent working at the Daily Planet, and then like the paper jams in the photocopier, and
he's
he
just
has to just
What's
deal
your
with it.
powers gonna do now?
Yeah. So that was Colin's pitch.
I would love to see that. Just like
You
everyday
just want like a charming
struggles.
indie like DC movie. 500 Days of Batman.
Yeah.
That's
He's just walking down the street dancing to Hall & Oates.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. I want to see like I would love to see a really weird, dark like take on like somebody like literally like Gnort, like just like you introduced them to me. It's your fault.
So quick catch up for those who might not know. Gnort is like a dog Green Lantern. He's part of the Green Lantern Corps. He's basically a dog. He's terrible at his job. They give him like an abandoned sector of space because he can't be trusted. And we did talk about him a little bit on a previous episode. And apparently, that very little bit was enough to convince you that he should have a movie.
hey, it was enough to convince you to buy one of the comics.
I did buy a comic. That's true.
Look them up. It's really interesting.
It's really not.
Now, if you have, do you have an idea of what you would want to see, Phil?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you. But.
Yeah. No, the
He's going to pitch it.
yeah, I want a full hour and a half movie on the Japanese samurai guy from the Super Friends that has tornado legs.
Oh my God! Yes.
Do you remember him?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, them.
I don't know what that means, but it all sounds
I'm
exciting.
telling you. I don't even know what his superpowers was. I just remember
Tornado
a
legs
character
weren't
in
good
Super
enough?
Friends that was a Japanese guy, and he had tornado legs.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a perfect answer, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi, tornado legs. I'd like to see.
That's the fastest like wipe on, wipe off I've ever.
Yeah.
So, DC execs, we know you're always listening.
Always.
And you're definitely listening to this one. So,
Samurai tornado legs.
yeah, hit up Phil Guerrero.
What was the name of that
his name?
character?
I
He
wish-
must have had a name.
I think this might be the first official stumped Dr. DC because I cannot think of
His name's just.
you know what I'm talking about. I
I do.
remember like a green outfit.
I do. I can't think of that.
So,
Come on, DC guys.
so here's the real question: would you want to play that character?
Ah, you know me, a tornado leg.
I'm glad he did that voice and not me.
Yeah, you're
I'm
terrible with
Filipino. I'm like
accents.
the Switzerland of. I could do everything.
That's awesome.
Amazing. That was a good first question.
Watch, check it out. White guy. I'm a white guy. Listen to my voice. White guy.
That was good.
I could do everything.
Oh my God, where did Phil go?
I feel like
White guy showed
God.
up.
you and Richard having coffee would just turn into something that no one could be anywhere near.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So, samurai tornado legs.
I like it.
Samurai tornado legs. I think that probably wins that round.
So what about you guys? Do you guys have any questions? Oh, Cap. Oh. Uh-oh. We're going to give him a mic? I'm going to hear this. We got to get this on recording.
Yeah, Captain America has showed up.
Captain America.
He's been
himself.
brooding in the back.
Wait, oh my God, Batman's bringing Captain America a microphone.
Oh, if only this was a visual medium.
Tell me about when you jumped out of the plane without a parachute.
So much brooding. Thank you, gentlemen. My question to you is, there's a lot of readers that are familiar with the Marvel Universe. How would they dig into the DC Universe? What character would you recommend they look at first if, say, they were a big fan of, I don't know, maybe Captain America or something like that and wanted a DC flavor of the same kind of character, or an anti-Captain America?
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, Jeepers, Cap. That's a great question.
Interesting.
You mean Captain Canuck?
If only Captain Canuck were DC, though, too. Okay. Well, how fitting that Captain America should ask about himself.
What a narcissist.
Yeah, so, if you're looking for the kind of similar flavor to Captain America, weirdly, I might suggest actually reading something like Suicide Squad. And the reason that I say that is that that is a book that's often anchored by Rick Flag, who's like an actual military character. He's a soldier who has to lead this group of supervillains through insane kind of covert ops missions. And I think there's some similarities, especially with the more modern kind of Captain America, who maybe does more of those kind of like operations. He's maybe a little less superhero-y lately in comics and a little more kind of black opsy. So I might say something like Suicide Squad would be like an interesting way in. You get a little bit of soldier character, you get some superpowers, you get some colorful villains.
You get GQ.
Oh, that's only in the movie. Yeah, Scott Eastwood's character, GQ. Sorry, and then the second part of that question was the anti-Captain America. Oh, God.
I would say maybe Ragman.
Right? Okay, I want to hear this, Colin.
Well, I'd say Hitler.
It was actually the only captain that's ever been able to beat him. Is Captain Vietnam.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Joe.
DC's Hitler.
Yeah. I don't know that we're going to top Hitler.
DC presents.
We did just in our previous episode, though, talk about Captain Nazi. He would definitely be an opposite. But I am a little bit curious about the Ragman thing.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like Captain America stands for like everything that's like rah America, and Ragman is kind of like a little bit disgruntled.
It's kind of Captain Vietnam.
Well, he is, and
Right?
Ragman, for those who don't know, he runs just like a little like pawn shop. It's called Rags and Tatters.
Yeah, this is one of the comic books that I've read. One of them, one of two.
Yeah, so
It wasn't Calvin and Hobbes.
If Captain America is like America's prosperity, then yeah, maybe Ragman is.
Yeah, kind of like
the flip side
down
of
and
that.
out. Yeah.
Colin, that was amazing.
I know. Thank
prolific
you.
of-
I'm amazing. Thank you. I'll be here for.
If you answer
Another
like
few
4
minutes.
more questions that well, I can retire from the podcast.
Oh no! I'm gonna turn my mic off now.
I'm leaving you the podcast. The podcast is just. I have a question, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you guys remember? And I guess I collected this comic when I was a kid in the '80s. It was, and I remember it being like a collectible comic. It was like a DC universe versus Marvel universe.
Yeah. So
And it was all on glossy pages. It wasn't like that newsprint. Like,
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
yeah. So part of that is that in the 80s, the late 70s and then into the 80s, the comic industry kind of like imploded a little bit. And so part of the way that they came up with to stay afloat
Fantastic sort of idea.
was to like team up with each other, which you won't see now because they're actually both doing pretty well between movies and actual comic sales.
I do remember buying a comic book that had DC characters
Yeah.
and Marvel characters fighting.
Yeah, because they did it very briefly, and they did a JLA Avengers crossover, and they did a version too. I don't know if you ever saw this one where they actually came up with, it's called Amalgam Comics, where they actually like blended characters together. So for example, there's a character called Dark Claw who was his name was Logan Wayne. He was Wolverine and Batman put together.
Whoa! That'd be a terrifying dude.
And they did a whole series of them. There was like Doctor Strange Fate, put Doctor Strange and Doctor Fate together. And yeah, again, it kind of came out.
Captain America Hitler?
Yeah, that's actually a present guy.
Oh.
Yeah, Captain America Hitler. I don't think that one sold very well.
But so I'm not crazy.
No, not at all.
I did have this comic.
Yeah, that was.
What was it about and who won? I can't remember. I don't think I read it. I just wanted to have it.
The thing with those ones is they often wouldn't declare an out and out winner because one of, as you might imagine, the conditions of collaborating with like your arch rival in the business is that you can't at the end of it say our universe is better than yours.
And I think the cover was all the different characters and they paired them up against each other.
Yeah.
Like
It's probably
Wonder Woman would be fighting She-Hulk, and
yeah,
it was like
probably
that
like
kind of-
Soups and Captain America or something.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's totally a thing.
Iron Man versus Rom. No, that's the same universe.
Maybe Iron Man and Batman or something.
Iron Man, Batman, maybe.
Yeah. No,
So-
that totally a thing.
Oh, cool.
So do we have any more questions?
How much is that comic worth now? And should I look for it in my mother's basement?
$50.
Oh,
You know what? That
is
really
that an
depends
offer?
on how good a condition it's in. It depends on where in the basement it is. If it's under the furnace, it's probably not worth
I
it.
remember, like in the first week, the middle page. You know when it folds out?
Yeah.
It fell out off the stick.
50 cents.
You know what? That might
Sorry
affect the
to-
price, but the fact that it was owned by PJ Phil Guerrero.
Well, that's true. You get that PJ Fresh money.
Exactly.
It's the last call before we move on. Questions?
Don't be shy. I ask a ton of stupid questions, so yours are probably
All
way
right,
smarter.
let's move on.
So we
do have questions
now
from-
have a website, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah, it's crazy.
And we're very fortunate that we have people that send us questions to our website, which is awesome.
Go, Cat.
Jenny,
From the block.
fuck you. Oh yeah, we're not supposed to swear at Comic-Con?
Well, no, I was worried.
So she says, I hope I'm not too late with like a billion exclamation points.
3.
So a billion. Can you talk about Emerald Twilight and ask PJ Phil what he would create if he had a Green Lantern ring?
All right. So two-parter.
Yeah. Jenny wasn't too worried about being too late, I don't think, because she dropped 2 questions.
That's true, yeah. So part 1, she's asking about Emerald Twilight. I don't know if you might have been out of your comic phase when this happened, but basically in the 90s, DC got very like grim and sort of started like deconstructing their superheroes. And so Green Lantern had this story called Emerald Twilight where
He'd be like have sparkly skin and
no, that's the different Twilight.
That's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern.
Sparkly skin.
He basically, his city gets destroyed and he goes insane and he kills the entire Green Lantern Corps. That's what Emerald Twilight is basically about. And at the end of it, he emerges with the power of all of the Green Lanterns and he goes by the name Parallax. And then he was a villain in comics for quite some time after that. Yeah, Emerald Twilight was just like part of this pattern where DC was like, people like our heroes too much. Let's do something horrible to them. So they killed Superman or they broke
It's like the
Batman's
original
back.
Game of
Yeah,
Thrones.
Batman was a drunk.
Yeah, and then
It's true.
they, Barry Allen had died a couple of years earlier.
Barry Allen.
Barry
it's
Allen.
A guy, it's a kid. Barry Allen. He's passing checks all over the country.
We've definitely set,
Nailed it. 2 for 2, Phil.
We've definitely set the
Barry
Catch Me If
Allen.
You Can reference
love it.
density record. Yeah, so that's Emerald Twilight, but ultimately that's like it's a Green Lantern story. And
What do I think of it?
Are you familiar? You're familiar with
I'm
Green
familiar.
Lantern,
Yeah,
right?
so what would I make?
He's got his power ring.
The power
and
ring.
it can, with his willpower, he can create anything that he imagines, and he uses it to
That's easy.
fight or whatever.
Yeah.
What would you make if you had a Green Lantern ring?
Oh, I would do like a shaver, and then on the other side, it's a toothbrush.
They have that. It's called duct tape.
That's what I'd. Imagine. And then.
With the,
Seems like a really hairy way to brush your teeth.
that's 100% not where I thought that was going at all.
Okay, let me change it.
Wow. No, that was perfect.
A million more wishes.
I genuinely thought he was going to say, just make another ring.
yeah.
I'd get a million more wishes.
Yeah,
Trick question. A
make
million
it-
more wishes.
That's amazing. So a dual shaver and toothbrush is the idea
Yeah.
that as you're brushing your teeth, it's like working on the other side of your face. So like the motion of brushing your teeth shaves your face.
Or is
that
it
the
like
idea?
one side's a shaver and one side's the toothbrush?
Yeah. Well,
Or is this like a tandem bicycle?
You see, we're open to all kinds of possibilities.
I just want-
I didn't even think about that.
I just want us to have this down when we end up on Shark Tank.
Just two best buds having a
It's
brush and a
Dragon's Den
shave.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. In Canada, Dragon's Den. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Oh.
That's awesome. That's perfect. What about,
So
what
like a
about-
bendy handle.
Yeah. Okay.
See, he's got it.
Yeah.
You got it nailed down.
Yeah. I mean, again, this isn't
It's a little bit of this the kind of thing going on.
this isn't a visual medium.
I don't know
but,
if I can handle it.
But if for those of you at home, just imagine that you were flossing, but one side was razor sharp and the other side was brushing your teeth, and that's basically what's happening.
I'm sure you couldn't make
There
any
could be
mistakes doing that.
floss. Okay, anyway. Inside the handle.
Can't see anything going wrong.
It's a very practical use of a Green Lantern ring.
This is like the Swiss Army knife of getting your shit together in the morning.
That's right.
And then you could also plug your phone in through the USB, and there'd be extra power.
Holy shit!
In
now
the
you're
ring.
This is
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would be
Yeah,
handy.
but you make I'd make a battery that you could plug your iPhone in, then it would be like another battery.
So, I mean, if we had to sum this up, though, basically,
How do you hold this thing
have
exactly?
basically, Phil would not opt to be a superhero.
I'd come up with stuff we already
He's
have.
looking for conveniences that have been invented, but he just wants to make them with his own imagination.
You just hire somebody to shave your face while someone else brushes your teeth.
Is that the weirdest thing that Green Lantern would have ever used?
Oh, that's weirdest. Probably
He'd never run out of toilet paper. Like, you know when you're imagine
dirty
being
ring.
stuck like, oh my god.
I love how this show never, ever just ceases to amaze
Yeah,
me.
ring
It's
on.
shock
You know what? That's a dirty ring for
shape
your dirty
of
ring.
toilet paper.
Yeah.
An ice. Oh, Wonder Twins.
Oh, the one.
How come they
Okay.
never did anything? There was like a Wonder Twins.
The Wonder Twins were only ever like a joke thing on that show.
God, that would be a sick movie though if you did the Wonder Twins.
Are we revising? Do you not want tornado legs
I
anymore?
want them all. I want Tornado Legs versus the Wonder Twins.
And their dog Gnort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DC execs, tornado legs, and Wonder Twins.
I need you to find
the
out
name
what
is Samurai.
Tornado
We
Legs-
just found out. The name is Samurai, the character.
That's it, Samurai.
Yeah. hot take from Mrs. Dr. DC.
So
I like Tornado. I like Tornado.
I'm a big fan of Tornado
DC
Legs.
execs,
as a
can we
name, too, actually.
amend the name to Samurai Tornado Legs?
Yeah, not just Samurai. Samurai Tornado. Legs.
Actually, you know what though? That'll just be a great movie title. Be like Samurai Tornado Legs.
Samurai Tornado.
Yeah, two of those.
I think we actually have like another related
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern question.
So this one's from Pascal.
Pascal.
Stop it. You're Italian.
Pascal.
Just no Italian hand gestures today. We're in public.
Pascal.
Ugh. Questions for all of us, or you. If you were recruited into a Lantern Corps, what color would you be?
So I didn't know that there was.
I thought there was just
So
green.
I'll run through this really quickly, but yeah. So there are multiple colors of lanterns. Red are fueled by rage. Orange are greed. Yellow is fear, and that's Sinestro. That's Green Lantern's arch enemy. He's got a fear ring. Green is willpower. Blue is hope. And indigo is compassion, and violet is love. So if you had to imagine that these rings seek out the people that best exemplify one of those emotions, what color ring do you think you would get?
I like the imagine like a shaver with a toothbrush.
Right. What color is it, though?
Oh. You said yellow?
Yellow's
In the fashion world, we call that lemon. So I would be lemon.
lemon. You'd be
Lemon.
the fear lantern.
Yeah.
You
because
do-
I'd be afraid of tooth decay. and looking grubby.
That's a more cogent answer than I was going to have. Yeah. Colin, what do you think?
Well, like without Ativan, mine would just look psychedelic, for sure.
Really, you just
Oh yeah,
cycle
it would just
through
be like
of
all
them?
of them for sure.
All the
yeah.
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 Actually,
why not?
We've got
Back in the 70s, we called them mood rings.
mood ring. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. If it changes color, that's a mood ring. And
That guy made millions.
Okay.
I know, such a simple invention. So just think of how much you could make with this toothbrush shaver thing.
Yeah, they had pet rocks at one point in the 70s too, didn't they?
That's right.
God.
Okay, so we've got.
Now they call it the Kardashians.
Here we got. Oh my god.
Now they call it the Mayweather fight.
We've got yellow. We've got psychedelic. Richard.
I don't see Green Lantern color.
Right, very progressive.
Yeah, I'm gonna go green. I want green.
You think you've got the willpower
That's
for
right.
an actual Green Lantern?
Are you trying to say otherwise?
See, I wanted green, but
You guys
a little
can
too
both.
arrogant.
You guys
Yes.
can both be the Green Lantern. It's not
I've never
like
been
a
worried about being
competition.
arrogant.
Phil played it smart. He didn't want to, put himself in there with the Green Lantern.
He was
I have no
afraid.
issue.
You're just doing it.
Me and Gnor.
All right. I think if I'm being perfectly honest, maybe an orange lantern. And the reason I say that is not that I don't think I'm like generally a greedy person, but maybe like gluttonous, like the way I eat. And I think that's if the ring was flying around, it would be like, oh my god, like that guy. Once he opens a box of Oreos, he can't stop. And it would be like he's the one.
Though.
That's one of those. What fruit would you be? If you could be any fruit,
Oh, definitely.
it's kind of around that question.
Avocado.
Oh,
I'd
is that
be
a
a-
fruit?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's right in your face.
I'd be a tomato because it's the fruit no one wants to eat.
Oh, both vegetable fruits.
So we're gonna just move along to Twitter questions.
Let's go to our last
I'm
question.
so bored of you guys
I think we've just got
high-fiving.
time for one more.
One more.
We're talking Superman.
Hopefully we can answer this question quickly.
All
Sorry.
right.
The Twitter handle is Talking Superman?
Yeah, talking Superman.
No, Superman talks. He just does it on his own. The question is more of a statement. I would love to hear the exact process of how Superman came back to life after Doomsday.
Right. So, like I just mentioned, in the 90s, DC was like, take that, all the heroes you love. Something horrible is going to happen to all of them.
The death of Superman.
The death of Superman was a huge arc. And then following that, there was an arc called Funeral for a Friend, which is about the world sort of dealing
That was
with...
a great band. It was. That was
It's the world dealing with the absence of Superman, and then there was a story called Reign of the Supermen, where four kind of like pretenders to the throne show up. One of them is Connor Kent, who was a teenage clone of Superman. One of them was the cyborg Superman, who was a villain.
Queen of Dragons.
One of them was Steel, played by Shaquille O'Neal in the 90s.
Oh, he's the real deal, though.
Yeah.
And the other one was called The Last Son of Krypton, but he was really the Eradicator, which is like a Kryptonian android, basically. And the very short answer is that the Eradicator, in order to like give himself superpowers, stole Superman's corpse and put it in this machine called Kryptonian Regeneration Matrix. And as Superman was healing and being healed by this machine, the Eradicator was siphoning off his power and like acting as a Superman that killed people.
As all good eradicators do.
Yeah. I mean, his name's the Eradicator.
He was doing his job. It's like you can't pause him for that.
So, I mean, the short answer is how Superman came back is basically that somebody stole his corpse and then put it in a thing that would make him come back, which is a terrible plan if you're a villain, but that's basically what happened.
but it works for Walt Disney.
That reminds me, have you guys watched that little documentary about the Tim Burton, Nicolas Cage Superman?
Yeah, the death of Superman lives.
Yeah, it's a fantastic
I've not
little...
seen that.
Oh,
Oh,
it's-
definitely.
Oh, the footage is like, I don't know if you've seen this. Like, they got so close to making this movie. They spent $3 million on the costumes and everything.
You might already know this, but one fun fact before we wrap this up, because we're running out of time, is that the producer on that film that never got made, that Superman Lives,
Yeah, I
he was
remember.
like, he made his money somewhere else, and he was obsessed with giant spiders, and
Oh,
he kept
yeah.
demanding that they put a giant spider in
giant
this movie,
as
and they were like, no,
main
we're not going to
enemy.
do it.
Yeah.
And then when the movie failed, he went on to produce, wait for it, Wild Wild West,
Which had that
which
character.
has a giant
which has
spider.
that giant spider. So he finally got to make
Yeah,
the giant spider.
he got his dream. Yeah.
That was his big thing.
Wicked Wild Wild West.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's in full entirety if you
Definitely
ever get a
check that
chance
out.
to see it. It's so interesting.
Death of Superman Lives. It's a really cool movie.
I'm
Well,
probably
thank you guys
super
for coming.
Thank you.
I knew
you.
more than I thought I would about DC.
Thank you, Phil, for joining us. That
So
was
where can
amazing.
people find you online?
They can find me at It's Barry Allen. He's a kid. He's passing forward checks all over the country.
Stop.
Barry Allen.
That's amazing.
Worst
You're
trilogy
on.
ever.
You're pretty active on Instagram.
I'm all of them. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. If you want to see what hotel I'm staying at, and I'm on Instagram.
Do you just rate hotels? That's your Instagram?
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's it. Like I don't have too much going on right now. Well, I have a web series on this thing called SessionsX, which is just sort of heavy metal parking lot, me talking to people right before they go see a show, a metal show.
Where can they find that?
SessionsX.com.
Oh,
I think
nice.
it is. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. All I know is that the check's clear.
We'll put it up on
I
our
don't
website.
watch myself. I hate watching myself. I don't watch anything I do.
Just Google
Not
PJ Phil Guerrero or just Phil
Yeah.
Guerrero and find out what he's up to.
I watch it when I'm feeling down on myself.
That's right.
Well, some kind of sign off.
Yeah.
I think if you guys want to find us online first.
I'll just run through it
find
very
you
quickly.
guys.
Oh, I thought we'd just jump out of this moving of us. Well, if you want to find us, we are on Twitter at
Dr. DC,
on Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast,
our email address,
drdcpodcast@gmail.com,
or on our website.
drdcpodcast.com or .ca. Thank you again, Phil, for coming. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you,
much.
YukomiCon, and
For having us.
Wait, at PJ Fresh Phil. That's
At
my-
PJ Fresh Phil.
At I have
Quick,
something.
plug it
I
into
do
your
have
phones.
something. At PJ Fresh Phil. FRESH Phil. Yes.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull
Yeah.
Phil some kind of sign off
All right,
tape
thank you
too.
guys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Woo.